So what do you think happens now in the finals, Doris? What do you think of this matchup here?
I am so excited for this, Rich. You know, you have the Boston Celtics, who by far have been the most dominant team from the opening tip of the season. The additions of Drew and Kristaps Porzingis have fit like a glove. And I do think, and we can sort of dive into this a little bit, but
Sure.
Kristaps has to play for them to win. And then you have the Dallas Mavericks, who feel to me, and I don't know what your take on this is, Rich, but you remember Steph Curry's last title, where they had scuffled to start the year, but they found their traction and hit their stride at exactly the right time. That, to me, feels like the Dallas Mavericks. And we need to give Nico Harrison a ton of credit, because early in the year, this team had to outscore people and they were going absolutely nowhere. No one would have been shocked if the Dallas Mavericks, had they stood pat, would have been a first round series exit. And now all of a sudden, you put this incredible amount of athleticism and defensive toughness around the two best closers in the game, in Kyrie and Luka. And look out, you've got a potent foe for the Boston Celtics.
So you said a couple things there that I want to touch base on. First one, you think Porzingis has to play for the Celtics to win? That's your belief here?
It is, and Rich, and I'll tell you why. Because what have Gafford and Lively done for the Dallas Mavericks? Number one, on the defensive end, incredible rim protection. And the two best players, Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, are both dynamic drivers who make tremendous rim reads and put a ton of pressure on you. And so Gafford and Lively are critical on the defensive end for the Dallas Mavericks. They also are vertical threats at the rim for two guys who understand how to attack and find people. So there's pressure at the rim and there's shooters on either side of both guys. So that's their influence on both ends is significant. I was just watching the tape of the March matchup between these two teams. Sorry, I just lost my AirPod. I was just watching the matchup from March when both teams are, as presently constituted. And the most striking thing I saw in that film, Rich, is Kristaps Porzingis picking and popping and pick and roll action. And so what does that do? That makes Lively and Gafford come out. You draw away that rim protection. You draw away that rebounding threat because you've got to cover. I think Kristaps Porzingis on threes averages about 27 feet per field goal attempt. And that was, it's my first run through of that matchup on tape, but that was the thing that was really striking to me. And let's remember, Kristaps on the defensive end is holding opponents to like 44% at the rim. He will post a mismatch. If you happen to get him in a switch, he's going to punish that switch. His post-up opportunities were one of the most effective and efficient plays in the entire NBA. I think they're going to they would have a hard time winning the series. And listen, he hasn't played since game 4 of the Miami series. So what does he look like? It's one of the most compelling storylines as we start this playoff this matchup.
And then you mentioned the defensive prowess of Dallas that the Mavericks identified was necessary. Do me a favor and give me some folks that you mean, actual players, and how they might match up against the Celtics starting Thursday night with you at the mic on ABC.
Well,
Doris.
Yeah, so this is the biggest test for this Dallas defense that has vastly improved. And to me, one of the most striking aspects of the PJ Washington, Daniel Gafford, and Derrick Jones Jr., can we remember that I don't think Derrick Jones Jr. had a lot of suitors. He didn't sign with the Dallas Mavericks, I believe, until August maybe. And yet he is a starter on an NBA Finals team and nightly absorbing an incredibly difficult matchup. And a couple of things have happened that are important. Luka and Kyrie are playing as hard and as engaged on the defensive end of the floor as we've ever seen them, and for the longest stretches we've ever seen them. But nobody covering this series, I don't think it's going to say, oh, those are two elite defensive players, right? So there's still some opportunities for this talented Boston team to attack. But the thing I think most is something Jason Kidd told us in one of our coaches' meetings. And this is important, and this is why fit and chemistry and the vibe of this team is important. Derrick Jones Jr., Daniel Gafford, PJ, they relish the fact that they can cover up and support maybe some of the pieces around them that aren't as good defensively. Maxi Kleber's return is enormous for two reasons. Maxey is one of the most outstanding defensive players in the league, really smart, cross-positional, and he has a knack for making big three-point shots, and that spacing is critical. So there's any number of defensive players. Josh Green, off the bench, the ability to apply ball pressure. Can you use your depth a little bit if you're Dallas? So this is the biggest test. Boston was the most efficient offensive team in the league. They put shooting on the floor at all 5 positions in almost every lineup they run out there. So this, I'm telling you, I'm so excited. And then there's the delicious storylines. Kyrie leaves Boston. It doesn't feel very good when he leaves. That fan base is not happy. Kristaps Porzingis' time in Dallas didn't work out well. How motivated is he if he's healthy and well and can participate? Like, there's so many things happening here.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.